few safety things. And when we finish a burn, we're almost always at the bottom of the hill. So we go back to our nurse tank. Everybody's riding the trailer. But when we get to the bottom of the hill, you gotta get off the trailer and walk up the hill. And this is a killer. I know, we're tired, and walking up the hill is not the easiest thing in the world. Don't want you riding up the trailer. I want you to walk up the trailer. You walk up the hill, don't ride the trailer. And then also the other thing is just common sense. Don't walk in front of the trailer or behind it. Because doing that, you are entrusting your life to that tractor driver. And we have good tractor drivers, but I'm not going to trust my life to them and walk in front of them. What are you doing here? I think you're going to Hutchinson.
Got canceled.
I didn't even see you back there. This is well, you weren't here for the introduction stuff.
But her name's on almost every slide. So.
Yeah, well, she's the official photographer. So, stay away from the tractors, walk up to the side when you're going up and down the hill. The other thing is, I don't want you riding on the front of it, even up on the flat ground. I don't want you riding up hill. If they hit a bump and you fall off, you're probably dead. And I know people, I'm not going to fall off. They ain't going to hit a bump. But there's bumps up there. And so it's just not a smart thing. You ride back hill on the fender, don't want you riding uphill. On toolboxes, put butt cheek dents into the toolbox. And so ride back hill on the fenders, don't ride hill in the front. Because if you fall off, you're dead. And tractor drivers, if they see you, they yell at you. They won't let you do it. Sometimes they may be distracted. So just don't do it, that way you don't get yelled at. When we run the west side, we have power lines we have to worry about. This is not as bad as it looks. But you don't want to be squirting water into these power lines. Not a smart thing to do. Okay, we do have first aid kits on the units. If you get injured in any way, shape, or form, you can take advantage of that. Put your Band-Aid on. You need to file a report with Tom. He has some paperwork to do. It's necessary because in case something later comes up, complications, it's just, you got a paper trail. It's a safe thing to do, even if it's a minor thing. Says, well, so you ran a nail through your foot, no big deal. But it may become a big deal in a couple of weeks. So do the paperwork on it so that everything's covered and that we know what happened. We normally don't have too much camera activity out there, but sometimes we do. And in the past, sometimes we've had full-blown film crews out there taking pictures. Cameras change people's the way they do things. And so it becomes very dangerous for us, as far as I'm concerned, to have a camera out there, because the person that's squirting water and should be paying attention to that pile is making sure they got good face time with the camera. I don't want that. But we occasionally do have cameras. Don't worry about the camera guy. He's not going to take your picture and you're not going to get on Facebook because of it. So ignore them. Work on your job of keeping your eyes on this pile and not on the camera. We do provide refreshments of some minimal sustainability. It's not always the best. If you have something you want, bring it yourself. I would caution that if you bring it yourself, you keep it with you in the unit you're going, because it may disappear. You just don't if you leave it in another unit. We do have snacks though that we keep in here. And plenty of drinking water. But if you want other stuff, bring it yourself. The other thing is, we don't stop for lunch. Back when I first started doing this, they'd come out here and maybe start burning at 10 and stop at noon for an hour lunch break. And I say, baloney on that. We only have 14 roughly good burn days in a 2-month period to get our burns done. And we can't waste the time to take an hour off so people can eat lunch. So if you want to eat lunch, eat it as we go. Put a hose in one hand and a sandwich in the other. Or eat the sandwich as we go, finish one burn and get ready to go to the other unit. But we don't stop to eat. But we do have stops to fill up with water and waiting on the other units to come up. So if you need a break during that time, take your break, but don't lay down under the tractor or trailer looking for some shade. There's no shade out there except for what that trailer and tractor has. But don't lay down under it. Pretty dangerous situation. Just set up out of the way. We finish the burn, we'll all come in, we'll try and convoy in all at once, make sure everybody's accounted for. It's always helpful. If you need to leave, you can leave, but it's helpful to have somebody stay with each unit to help fill it up. It goes a lot better with 2 people filling them up with both gasoline and water than just with one guy. So if you can help, fine. If you noticed anything wrong, like a hose leaking or something, report it to Jim. Say, hey, this needs fixed. Don't take our equipment. Buy your own equipment. Leave it. And then sign back out at the table, because I'll look at that at the end of the day to see if we still have anybody that's still out there wandering around. So that way, we know we've got everybody accounted for. Okay, so what do you get out of this? What we get is free help. What do you get? Well, you get an opportunity to at least see what we're doing, why we do it, and how we do it. Get some kind of exposure to burning. One of the big things is, there's not a greater thrill to me than to see a tree burn. And so occasionally we get to see these cedar trees burn. Grad students, they get this is called forced volunteerism, that they're kind of expected to, so that they don't have to, they or the professors don't have to pay site user fees for the research. And then we try and give some kind of acknowledgement to the person who has contributed the most with the transportation ones. And then the last thing is, it is a resume pad. Because when you get out of here, speaking of grad students, even if you're in fishes, or maybe not statistics, but if you're in fishes, you get out of here, they're going to say, you came from Konza. You know all about burning. You are now in charge of burning our little pasture over. So you will become the most experienced person more than likely when you go to a lot of these areas. So you can at least put down, it says, it controlled burning on Konza. And it is a helpful resume enhancement. Even if all you did was run the second hose of the fire truck. And that also brings up that if you come out enough, you're going to get to do a variety of jobs. But it's not always you come out here and get to do whatever you want to do. So we put you where we think we need you the most, or where we can put you based on your experience. But people who come out more and more and more get to do more, or get to be involved in more and more things than they want to be involved. Except tractor driver, and I ain't going to let them drive a tractor. That's specialized. And so the more you come out, the better off you're going to be, as far as knowing what's going on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to finish eating all the food that Bob brought in. And we need to finish eating it, because if we don't, then take it over to the fire unit, and the staff there will be eating it all next week, and they don't eat it. So eat up, finish it off. And then what we're going to do is, let me introduce you. More appropriate.
Why?
Alright, we got everybody in here. This is Jim Lawkins. He's the one that's primarily responsible for taking care of the equipment. He's the one that lives out here, so if you ever need anything, like you get stuck in the snow, you ask him to pull you out, and he depends how he feels. So he's the one, these are his babies. So he'll kind of give you an overview of how to take care of them.
No, I don't know if they're my babies, but they're something. They are nice trucks. They're good units. They're we had a company over in Junction City build these for us. A firefighter over there had a little company that he was making them. Tom asked him to put it together out of plumbing supplies. So these valves and things are a little different than what's on if you've been around fire equipment. They're not. The handles don't always turn the direction you think they might, but they do have stops on them, so don't break them. The valves on here, these two valves here, with the red handles up here are for the reels. The yellow handles for the jump hose on all 4 units, whether it's trailer deals. If they've got a blue handle on the valve, and some of them are dirty, you can't really tell, they should be closed normally, and the red valves are open. This yellow valve is also open. It's closed right now, and the reason is because these blasted things siphon the water out of the tank into the floor, and pretty soon you've got water on the floor and not in the tank. So when we park them, we have to shut those valves off. That's not your concern. It's just these should be down, and valves are always in the direction of flow on the valve. To start the units, you set your throttle about halfway up. Your choke is here on the side of the engine, and first you start turning. And then you start right up. You got a pressure valve here, and usually we run around 180 to 200 pounds pressure when we're out there. Let's see what else. The water levels. There's a sight gauge here on this tank, and then one on the front end there. If you're on a hose, it's a good idea to keep track of that, and remember that you're not just squirting water. You got to keep track of your water. So
if the water quits pumping, we run out of water or have trouble, we yell, say, shut the pump off. So shut the pump off. Just turn this key. Because you guys that are closest with the units back in the back will be the ones that have to do it. If somebody else shut the water off before you do it, shut it off with the key.
And it's important you do that because it heats that seal up. It doesn't have water on it, and it burns it out. And then I get to put the seal in before we burn next time. Otherwise, it leaks and is a mess. So, yeah. If the engine starts running rough, yeah, it could be very well that the choke lever deal is rattled its way out, and sometimes if we've been in a lot of smoke, and it's blacker, the air filter needs to be changed. There's extra air filters behind the seat. In the outer, there's an outer garter on there that's real dirty. Don't worry about it. Just knock it out, and we'll put it back on. But there's extra filters behind the seat in the trucks. We have 2 different kinds of hoses. Gene's already explained. We've got the yellow hoses, and these are just an ag hose that we use. They're a low volume hose. They have a.
Turn around, Jim. Turn around. I can't see it.
You're right. Forgot where my audience was at. Not a guest being. But there's a latch back here that you can unlatch to so roll, and then when you're wrapping back up, you latch it back up so it doesn't. We've gotten a lot better on this, but it used to be we drug hoses down the road a lot, and we've gotten better habits of doing it. Anyway, this is our low pressure. This is our working hose.